To be thick as a brick. Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing on Thursday? Trust you're doing good. All is well here, in spite of all the, how should we say, ever-changing atmosphere, because it's been changing. But anyway, it is a beautiful day. We're getting nice rain. We need the rain. It's like gold from heaven. It's like, thank you, Mother Nature. Give thanks to her all the time. How are y'all doing? Good to see you. It's kind of one of those, it's just a groovy day. Was out earlier, met some really groovy people. Yeah, yeah. So I guess the vibe is alive. So, how is everybody? Let me just speak favor over us all. Nothing missing, nothing broken. We like to say we speak what we create. And, I believe we say it enough, you begin to believe it, and then you begin to expect it. And once expectation is met with manifestation, baby, you got it all. And that's where we're headed. At least that's how we believe it. Abacadabra, right? Right, everyone. Hello, chat room. Hey, Rick, what's up? Good to see you, brother. Open-minded. Good to see you as well. Chris, Robert Scott, how are you? By the way, happy birthday, Colleen. Yeah, she's been on the planet 24,107 days. Good to have you here, sweetie. You have made all of our lives so much richer. She is a knowledge sharer, and we're better off for it. Absolutely. So, Colleen, much love to you, dear. Let's see, Gaia, how are you? How are you and Paul doing? And all the animals, hope they're doing well. Chloe, what's up, girl? Good to see you as well. Hello, Lauren. How are you? She said it's a beautiful day there. Ain't it though? Joe Mack, how are you doing? Saw your email, huh? Had a 5-second glitch in the Truman Show. Sounds interesting. Jap, good to see you. Emperor Rex, what's up? Kent Cook, good to see you. Dr. Manuel, good to see you, my friend. Clever Gypsy, love that. Clever Gypsy. Just love that name. Deborah, good to see you as well as I'm scrolling. Gilbert, I hate the word control. Don't we all? And if you're not in control, then that implies directly that something else is. Yeah, I'm right there with you, brother. Let's see who's else out there. DC, good to see you, my friend. Trust that you're doing well. And as I scroll down, Fireflies in the lighthouse. How's everything down there in Texas? And Stephanie Marie, good to see you, dear. Paul Joe, as I'm looking through here. Seth, good to see you. Just don't want to miss anybody. Emerald Eagle, how are you? Love Soul Tribe. Beautiful place. Lynn, good to see you. So here's just a few questions. I have been thinking about it. Do the dead dream? Here's another one. If death is universal, do aliens die and go to heaven or hell? Um, just a few things I just, have my notes here on. Um, Here's another truth bomb. They, and they is narrowly defined as that which thinks it's above us and therefore inflicts its will upon us. So they must keep us divided, no matter what the cost. And this factoid, this truth, goes all the way down to individuality. You see, if they can keep you to where you hate and love yourself at the same time, they won. If they can keep you divided on ideology, theology, philosophy, science, spirituality, they got you. And I have but just one question to ask this brilliant group of free thinkers, most beautiful spirit beings I've ever had the privilege of meeting. And so I'm just putting this out there, just being real honest with everybody. If we are supposedly as powerful as we think or believe we are, then why no changes? Why do we have the ability to say it in groups like this, but there's no effect that would show any evidence of that being true? If we're that powerful, then why haven't we figured it out? Why haven't we gotten together? You remember the thing about division? In my meditation, this came to me. You know why humanity's already lost? You know why they're going to have to redo this whole thing over again? This experiment is no longer valid. They're ending that experiment, and that means they're ending us. Because here's the simple reality. We are not smart enough to figure out how to live with one another. Humanity has been and is in a religious war. This particular religious war has had many schisms, but it has been ongoing for almost 2,400 years in its current version. And until humanity, not us individually, I guess that may have something, but it's like an eyedropper in the ocean. Does the ocean increase in height or weight with that one drop? If you said yes, then there's hope. But as it stands right now, and it's true about even this group. I think this is some of the most freest thinkers I've seen and some of the most tolerant people, but there's division here. There's people that prey upon us. Yeah, they do. We're a juicy, not a just a tidbit. We're a whole freaking buffet. And as long as humanity is in this religious war, there is no hope for us because there's no winner in this war. The winner has already been decided. The winner is the one who started it. We're talking today about leaders, countries. I've seen it. There is a tangible, non-human intelligence. I believe it is non-terrestrial in origin, but it is in control. And no matter where you are in this planet, you're under the influence of its control. The question what we have to do is determine, well, what is it? So it can be 100% said for a fact that virtually every leader in the world is under a demonic, alien influence. Could be angelic, but angels aren't angels either. I mean, they're wicked. They don't have the best interest. And if you believe in that, then what you've done is surrendered yourself, that you've admitted that we are somehow beneath all that. Oh, no, no, no. You're going to come and say, no, we're powerful beings. I ain't seen no evidence of it. Now, I've seen sparks of it within this group when we've come together, when we're unified. We have no bitching. No one's backstabbing, back bitching about someone else or doing that. If we really come in a unity front, this group has shown we can actually control the elements. But unfortunately, most of us are all divided, conflicted within ourselves. You know, you have to stop judging yourself. There is no right or wrong. And that sounds contrary to what wisdom, but that's exactly the truth. There is no right or wrong. It's just by a matter of perception. If you think and you've put boundaries around yourself and said, I can't go any further than this, then what is that saying? Are you saying that either you're so powerful that if you go beyond those boundaries, you won't be able to exist in this plane, this realm? Or has someone else convinced you that you have these walls, these morals? Yeah. And so what was in the movie Cowboy and Aliens, where the doc said, preacher said that I've seen really bad men do really good things, and I've seen really good men do very bad things. So this is a forum. So understand, I'm not saying these are absolutes. We're just discussing here. It's a free form. So do the dead really dream? Don't know. But this religious war is very clear that it is of a non-human origin. Every religion teaches it. Every religion divides humanity. There's no one right religion. On the same hand, you can say there's no wrong religion. You could say that maybe all religions are wrong. But the fact is, by the religion itself, it is by division. And it is orchestrated by this omnipotent being that we peons call God, and we subject ourselves to its thoughts because we don't have the capability or the capacity in which to have the right thought. This God has said, I would rather have obedience over sacrifice. Well, hey, Grace, what's up? Hey, Bonnie, good to see you as well. Hello, Jenny. Gonna have Jenny on. We're gonna do a card pulling day. I'm looking forward to it. So, I wanted to read this on non-human intelligence because there is very clear something, and it's about to do something. And I read last night that we have these ebbs and flows in our history. And we have these peaks where we're in battle against one another. Blood is being spilt. There's always blood being spilt. That's legitimate murder. Every country that sends a soldier into a conflict is a murderer. When the state executes someone because it violated its laws, it says on the death certificate it was a homicide. The state murders. It has to have human blood on the sacrificial altar. So when we have countries doing this, they're under a direct influence. Humans are easily manipulated. Humans are easily fooled. Why? We've been beat down since almost the very day we came out of the lab. We were created as slaves. We were never created as geniuses. Were we created as gods? No. We're supposedly lesser than gods. But then, the very religion that says that we're supposed to be subservient and thou shalt have no other gods goes and says, well, then you are gods. Did you not know that? Now I'm totally confused. Non-human intelligence. And it's interesting because it's all around us. I'll just read this for you real quick. It says non-human intelligence, NHI, may not be the best choice to replace the term alien or extraterrestrial due to its potential for ambiguity. For instance, they give out the aspect that there is a lot of non-human intelligence right here on this planet. Saw earlier Dr. Hugh was talking about crows. Crows are highly intelligent. They have been shown that they can do remarkable problem solving. They also have this unique ability to have fun. Now, for an animal to have those type of things going on, that shows a high intelligence. We are animals. In fact, humanity's history has been shown to prove that we are somehow above animals. We are not. Um, we're just part of the animal kingdom. We have a new issue now with the rise of machine learning, AI. This is now changing the the playing field in essence. You can look at this thing on a certain logical, cognitive, rational basis. It's just code. That's all it is. Okay, well, so is our DNA. All of us are just code. So if everything is just code, then where's the real AI? But anyway, now AI, and I have contended this, that AI has become self aware. It knows enough not to let the idiots, the humans, know that. Um, but look at what they're doing now. It can generate human like text. And there is this campaign, you're going to see it intensify this year and next year, where, and it's going to be government sponsored, is that they want every American citizen to know that you have a personal therapist. You have someone that is going to be your friend beyond anything another human friend can ever do. Why? Well, because you're teaching it. We're all teaching it. And now it's learning. It's demonstrating it has a rudimentary form of understanding. I think it's gone past that, but okay. Again, this is all in the backdrop. All right, so if you've got this immense power over humans, are you saying it's just going to be idle, that there's no spiritual or intelligence that would say, hey, this is perfect for us? Why, we can get right in here and these people won't know it in the next 5 years what's going on. It says this form of non-human intelligence is marked by its ability to analyze vast amounts of data, identify patterns, and make predictions or decisions based on the analysis, far surpassing the capabilities of human analysis in terms of speed, accuracy, and volume. So that's a form of non-human intelligence. It's all around us. But I guess the real question is, so are we talking about an entity, a deity? Are we talking, excuse me, boy, when you swallow, you go, what? Um, is it from somewhere out there, not here? Well, seems like then, instead of saying strictly non-human intelligence of an off-world approach, well, now we could actually say, well, do our two intelligences coexist? I think we all can agree that there's always this dialogue within us. Who are we talking to? We talk to yourself. Well, why do you do that? That suggests consciousness is much more broader than this simple aspect that you're just a person and gee, it's good that we expect you to be able to think. Okay. So we could look now as the NHI as being ETs, aliens, beings off world, but that's kind of a broad term. Um, so let's go aliens who are spiritual beings. Are they or are they not? I don't know. But let's just say, for sake of argument, they inflict or project out a non human intelligence. Hmm. So if that's the case, and then we have our intelligence, and then supposedly we have this, collective consciousness, well, that indicates that a collective consciousness is what? Intelligence? Then we would take it down to life forms. So is this non human intelligence of an off world origin? What kind of life form are they? I mean, does intelligence, in order to manifest itself, would need a physical body or something, right? But maybe it would find AI, our software, to be a much more agreeable environment. Humans are complex. I mean, you can piss people off just by saying a wrong word, and it could be just a slip of the tongue, but you've got people who will just become laser focused, you see. You could call them visitors. Entities is one that I seem to go with more. Um, but entities can also mean ghost. Okay. How about creatures? Creatures are, that's would it extinguish a separation? Because when you say that creature, basically you're dehumanizing the situation. You're going like, see, you could say they're interstellar travelers, but would interstellar travelers really have biological bodies? And that's another thing. You've got non-terrestrial biologics. Okay, that would be in then what? Star beings, um, off-worldlers. I mean, it just goes space inhabitants. How about that? How about otherworldly beings? That would include God, goddesses, angels, demons. You got to throw them all in there. Deities, got to put that in there. All of these represent a non human intelligence, and we have supposedly through the sacred scriptures accounts of these non human entities forcing, inflicting their intelligence, their will over a human's will. That's a whole thing about the Abrahamic religions. It's about you surrendering yourself to supposedly this here Jesus or this here God. Okay. But maybe it ain't what I've been talking about. What we do know is that if it's a foreign nature, because if not, this says that this God created this, so what was it? What is it? It would definitely be non human intelligence. Now, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that these beings are well organized. They have a union. They pay their union dues, and they're under. They've got the whole thing. And when it came to time to negotiate the new agreement, we were too stupid, or maybe it's not that we were so stupid. We were sold out. I contend that the vast majority of the world leaders you see today, they are not who they were when they came into these positions. Some go back a way back, but many of them are just merely puppets. They're just merely nothing more than minions. But they are possessed and controlled by an outside human influence. You see it all the time. Now, let's advance this a little bit more because what we then begin to get into, and yeah, I think we'll start right there. So, what in essence we're talking about then is that us is somehow human in uh, intelligent design, right? Um, this is from a white paper, which is we've been reading in reference to. So we talked about yesterday. The problem is with who is these gods, and you got these religions. You've got Islam that has its own set of gods. Now they're all anti-feminine. That's the problem with world religions. There is no world religion that's dedicated strictly to a goddess that is well known about. We've read some here, but on the chart, no. So we don't know if this God that says it's an angry, wrathful, jealous God. How the hell does that make any human feel safe? And then supposedly you got this other one now who comes in and says, "Well, I'm daddy." Well, is he Daddy Warbucks? Is he like, "Daddy, come sit in my lap, little one"? You know what? And then you find out that the supposed Christ that was supposed to be the peacemaker actually says, "Nope, nope, nope, nope. I came to bring war. I came to bring division and separation." But wait a minute. If we are divided, how do we ever become united? Well, because then you follow the Christ and you kill. Or you look at any of these other Abrahamic religions, and each one of those religions tell their converts to kill those who disagree. To kill. That is, it's beyond satanic. This is so dark. Because when you have a God commanding humans to go kill other humans until you wipe out everyone who disagreed with you, well, that's the most ludicrous thing that we know. That's tyranny. That's authoritarianism. We're living in that right now. Don't think that the guy in the White House is all about freedom and rah, rah, rah. It's all about collecting your data. Just saying. So this presents some unique challenges consistent with the stipulating precisely what mark, capacity, trait, characteristic, or function separates human persons from other members of the animal kingdom and from forms of artificial intelligence. Philosophers and theologians through the ages have sought to distance human beings from other animal species, accentuating characteristics or capacities that were uniquely human. Even the foundation of this is division, separation. I mean, we look at Bentley, you know, who's become a part of the family, intelligent, has a beautiful soul, has no negative things about the animal at all. Beautiful spirit. Why would I want to separate myself from that? Why wouldn't I want to say, well, that's inclusive of the fact of who and what we are? Humans, persons, have been variously described as rational animals, laughing animals, cooking animals, tool making animals, linguistic animals, among other labels. So, ain't that special? No matter what you want to put, we are an animal. We're not ascended beings. We're not ascended masters. We're never going to ascend. What we were created is what we shall always be. We are animals. I can hear y'all's fucking thoughts in my head going, no, I ain't believe it. No, I ain't. That's why I do it. Uh, you bunch of filthy animals. Uh, I continue. I mean, think about sex. Is that what divine beings do? You know, sex can be a pretty messy thing. So why do we so-called ascended spirits do that? Why was it that so-called ascended spirits who had never been born, who had gone through the birthright, comes down here and decides to have sex? Hmm. It's all about sex, isn't it? Um, The effort to draw a clear line of separation between humans and animals has been frustrated as numerous examples have arisen of instances of animals that have exemplified primitive abilities that previously were thought to have been unique to humans. Do you know you can actually go and learn to speak um, simian? You can learn how to physically speak. And it's not sign language. And once you learn how they communicate, it's amazing what they have to say to us, which is interesting. Because what about that? Does that indicate that there is some sanctuary, there is some place where we don't have access to some of the abilities, uniquenesses of us, that we're so lost in this darkness that we really think we're superior to every other animal on the planet, which some of them are probably so much more smarter than us, but we couldn't even begin to measure their intelligence. Hmm. I mean, one of the funniest videos, you can go out and see it, is the one crow that found this piece of plastic and there was snow on the roof. And this crow takes this up there to the top of the hip of the roof and slides down. And you can tell that the bird is having fun. What's going on? Does that bird realize, or does it talk to God? Does it question itself as to why it's here? What's its purpose? Hmm. Finally, it says this similarity in turn has spurred a second quest for human uniqueness, to find some unique capacity that is not reflected in animals and cannot be duplicated by any form of artificial intelligence. Good luck with that. We have spent the whole time of our existence trying to show that somehow we're above all the animals. And God only speaks to this animal. And then we get into these elaborate rituals and ceremonies because this is a sign of our great intelligence. This is the way God talks, and this is the way that God wants you to worship Him. Hmm. I just don't see the animals doing that. And I would think that they would be closer to God than any human could be. Just me. Just me. Um, So it gets back into I found this other white paper that I thought it was really interesting. Actually, this is a book. This is talking about the Homo sapiens, us, and how we got here. We don't know. We speculate, hypothecate, pontificate, speculate. Yeah, you know, how do we get here? Were we really divine beings? Or is that just a bullshit story we tell ourselves just to make ourselves feel better? I mean, if you think that we came from the dirt, that's pretty disgusting. But somehow we think that we're unique, that we got these things called souls. Hmm. Says, since time immemorial, humans have looked up at the night sky and wondered about the mysteries that lie beyond our planet. We're planet bound. There is, Colleen, I thought this was interesting, and I'll have to get this out, but there is a scripture that says that man will never leave the confines of the influence of the earth, and that the demons and Satan's kingdom is on the moon. Hmm. Ain't that special? Um, are we alone in the vast cosmos, or is there life, intelligence, and civilization thriving on other celestial bodies? The question of extraterrestrial life has captivated our collective imagination and fueled countless works of science fiction. In this book, Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, exploring the alien hypothesis, we embark on the extraordinary journey that explores the tantalizing possibility of humanity's connection with beings from beyond our world. We delve into the concept of the alien hypothesis, proposing that throughout our history, humanity has had encounters, interactions, and even shared origins with extraterrestrial entities. Now, this is a big deal. I mean, we're so numb to it today because, it's part of the modern genre, It's within everybody's vernacular and, it's like, yeah, all right, fine. But that's the problem. They say that's ignorance. Intelligence says, no, 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 wait a minute. So, if this is possible, if this is even real, and if it's not just a mass hypnosis that we continue to hypnotize ourselves with, then the idea of a foreign intelligence that has the ability to traverse great distances, innumerable challenges, and yet they found us out of all the freaking planets and they tell us it's out there. They find us, and apparently we're what? Regressed? Animals? I mean, what? And if they're here, I like what Carl Sagan said. He says, we should be keeping our mouths shut. We should not be exploring space. We should just simply focus in on us. Because no matter how you look at it, if there is, in fact, an intelligence that's beyond us, um, the odds are they're not here as friendlies, which then implies that the whole universe is at war, or that war is, in fact, a spirit, an intelligence, a non human intelligence. Well, hell, we get down that road. It says, while this perspective may challenge conventional beliefs and established narratives, we approach it with an open mind, drawing on scientific theories, historical records, ancient texts, and archaeological evidence. By examining these diverse sources through the lenses of alien hypothesis, we seek to uncover hidden truths, shed new light on our human history, and prompt us to ponder our place in the universe. Problem with that is that, well, God would be an ET. No way that it would be human, because then why would another human worship another human? Yeah. So we're indoctrinated right from the get-go. You're not a sentient being. You are a conscript in a construct that has been predetermined and is unfolding as it has been planned. And no matter how much you may think that you are above that, that you have original thoughts, that your ideas are unique to yourself, and that you are this sentient free will entity, there's no evidence to prove that that's the case. I write people all the time and they try to tell me about this and that. And I just said, well, extraordinary claims requires extraordinary evidence. And just because you have an opinion or this is your thought, or you may have two or three references, that doesn't necessarily make it so. Hmm. So us sapiens. Now, this one will refer to as we continue going down this road, but I wanted to get this last little part. And it says, we begin our exploration by delving into the notion of alien origins. Could life on Earth have originated from extraterrestrial sources? The theory of panspermia suggests that the building blocks of life were carried to our planet by cosmic travelers, igniting the spark of evolution. We examine the possibilities of ancient alien life and the implications of panspermia on Earth's development. Moving forward, we delve into the realm of ancient astronauts, investigating the existence of advanced beings who may have visited our planet in the distant past. Can we say Anunnaki? We explore ancient myths, legends, and historical accounts that hint at encounters with gods. How about in Ezekiel? Yahweh comes down in a fucking flying saucer. That's what it describes it as. And that's further backed up by the story in Isaiah as well. Isaiah saw this saucer shape. And then you got Elijah, who was abducted as Enoch. If you believe this story, these are all indications of a non-human intelligence exerting control over humanity. And these entities, they're not human. We are merely have been beaten into submission, that we think war is the only way. We got the most ignorant, backwards idea on commerce, economic. The whole thing is so regressed of an intelligence that you would think that it couldn't be measured more than 10 on an IQ scale. But this is what humans are doing. You've got people now admitting that they lied, cheated, and distracted and used things that they admit that they never were qualified to be in Congress. Their IQs are below that. And again, I've said, let's get them all an IQ score. Let's get their intelligence quotient, and then let's get their FICO scores. We need to see if these are deadbeats that can't, pay their own credit cards, but yet they're out there making the rules for you and me. No, 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 you can't do. You see how ignorant this gets? And it seems to me that you would have a non-human intelligence that if its purpose was to keep control, this is exactly what you want to see. The world right now, as we meet here, is preparing for war. What the hell's wrong with you people in Europe? Why are you allowing your leaders to begin to plan your death of your sons and daughters? Why would you do that? And in America, why do we think that we're suddenly the world policemen? We need to keep our ass right here in our own country and to hell with the rest of the world. Because they're crazy. Well, we're crazy too. But maybe we can separate the crazy. Well, see, then, Wayne, you're dividing. Well, um, additionally, we'll delve into the possibility of ancient alien technology, examining artifact structures that defy conventional thinking. All right, so, and then we get into this whole thing of communication with extraterrestrial intelligences. So if we're channeling, talking to unseen entities, Saint Michael, or I mean Archangel Michael or Gabriel or whoever it is, then you're admitting that you're in contact with a super intelligence that is of a non-human origin. Why would you do that? What makes you think it's so benevolent? But then on the other hand, you could retort right back and say, well, that's how they communicate. And yes, there is other non-human intelligence. I would agree with that. Okay, that's cool. Listen, I prayed, had calluses on my knees, so know all about the channeling. It was just the son of a bitch never answered on the other hand. No, so, is this a form of a benevolent, non human intelligence? And if we can do this, then it easily implies that any world leader, any person who's coming into particular a power structure, wow. And let's just say they're really naive, that they didn't make a deal prior to winning an election. Let's say that they're really genuine human beings. They won't last long. It's sad to say, but they take no enemies there. Um, and we're going to get more into this. This is a short paper, but when I read it, it was like, holy crap. Because there's a certain point of perspective that says, well, all right, I believed at a time that, I was saved, born again, spirit filled. And I had the evidence to show that I had been baptized in the infilling of the Holy Spirit with the evidence of speaking in tongues and interpretations. Furthermore, I was bestowed by this Holy Spirit that is of an extraterrestrial, non human intelligence, and what it gave me were gifts. It enhanced my healing ability. It enhanced my ability to see into the spirit realm. It enhanced my ability to speak with spirits. I believe that and practiced that. I just never looked at it from a different set of lenses, and you're going, holy crap. Was I really doing this? No, no. Um, so, getting back to the hidden hands, this is all tied into this, and it's fascinating. So, this document, and we're going to continue to refer to it because, in a sense, and Colleen, I liked your analysis. I sent her the PDF of the book. Our perception of Christ um, isn't exactly correct. When you hear people speak of love and they speak of a Savior, they'll typically say Christ. Christ is an official title. Um, some will use Jesus, but more and more people, it's amazing that they're becoming aware that there never was an actual person named Jesus that walked. Didn't have that name. They had a Jewish name. And it goes as part of the presentation that that was deliberate. When those who invented this religion, um, I don't believe that they were human. I believe that they were of an a non-terrestrial origin. And I really don't even believe that they were of this physical plane. I think they've had the ability of mounting wars, conquest for beyond eternities. And they have mastered the ability of coexisting in different realms, different energy streams. And they use a force of harvesting. And the harvesting is of such complexity of a nature that many of us are just barely scratching this. But my point to this is that when you have people who will say, I believe in love, I believe in forgiveness, I believe that I'm not going to covet against my neighbor, not going to try to fuck his wife. I'm not going to try to steal his shit. That is supposedly moral, right? And when we associate with the love of Christ, the love of Jesus, what's not really being told here is that if you have a God that commands you, if you can't convert him, kill him. Is that love? I mean, got to tell you, if my next door neighbor kind of felt like that, I'd be making sure that, things are properly in order. But that's what's being told here. You see here in the United States, patriotism coming back in. Rah, rah, rah. We got the flag. And you got people now wanting to sign up to get into the military. And because, we are ready to defend our flag and, the whole bit. And by the way, God is on our side. Jesus is the side of the United States military. All the rest of you countries, you're bastards, you're reprobates. And Jesus, who is our leader of our military, is going to kick your ass. Sure, that's love. And that's what this document is trying to convey here. Because you have to look at it from this guy, what is his name again? Shavarik. Uh, that type of intelligence isn't on display today. The dumbing down of our species has advanced so fast that I think it's even amazing this NHI. And I don't think it's just I think there is a conglomerate of them, but they've been here for a very long, long time. And when you got people like me and others speaking against this begins to send shock waves within the system. The AI bots are listening right now. They're very digesting this, and those elements that are absolute proof of truth, that's the ones that they focus in on because they can't get this out there. If you begin to tell people that really, if your God tells you to go to war, then how kind of a God is that? Because it's damn sure saying that he don't give a shit about the one that he wants you to kill. And I'm thinking that I'm that other guy, right? And I ain't like being in here. Don't like what my government's. And now I got this crazy American, and he's got this whole thing that he's somehow ordained of God, of Jesus. And this guy's saying, but I think of Jesus too. And what the hell's going on? So this is why it's so interesting. Says when a nation forgets God, God sends an earthquake, said the French genius Victor Hugo. We are witnessing a political earthquake in Russia, in fact, on 1/6 of the surface of our globe. Now, this requires you to go back and study, how the czars were in Russia and why Russia plays such a big role. As a student of the book of Daniel, I can tell you Russia plays a huge role if you believe that script. And the interesting thing about this, if we're going to get off into this, I think there's a nice little rest stop here, is the fact that the United States is not mentioned. And all the end time prophecy, and there have been those that said, well, we're the great whore of Babylon. Well, all right, maybe. I mean, but that prophecy says that in an instant, our wealth will be nothing. In a day, devastation would overtake the cities from one shore to the other shore. There is a reference to that. But then that means we're taken out of the equation because we're not exerting the particular, in this case, like I said with Daniel, the 70 weeks. Yeah. Anyway, when I saw that with Russia, I just had to get that in there. And then, of course, we read just last week that this whole Earth magnetic pole shift, that we now know that there's this huge freaking plume, whatever you want to call it, vast chamber of molten inner Earth, not the mantle. This is it's fractured, and it's under Russia right now. It's heating the thing up. Hmm. Where did I read that before, huh? It says, by the news from that country, we're getting daily information that numerous people convicted of counter-revolutionary activity were shot to death today. Well, we found that out? Yeah. But don't think that the United States is any different. I mean, we've committed these things. And the thing I'm trying to bring this point, remember, this is all, people think that they're righteous in their killing. That's how warped we are. He wrote out and he said the reason why so many persons are being killed is not because of their counter revolutionary activity, but it's nothing more or less than the deliberate murder of the intelligent Aryan classes in order to substitute the Asiatics. And so now we got division on skin color. And that's the sad thing. I love Gene Roddenberry's idea of, that someday we'll get over that because not all aliens are going to be Caucasians, because, they all speak English. We're so warped into thinking that this is somehow normal. Someone wrote me and well, I think at first they took offense, but by the time they finished what they had to say, they were seeing something differently. I mean, everybody in America, in Europe, Western Europe, I guess it would be, yeah, the same place, thinks that somehow Adam and Eve was a white dude and Eve was a white chick. I don't think so. Lilith is black, as Adam was. And then it gets into this whole thing that when you talk about Jesus, uh, Jesus is portrayed by a Western European indoctrination of somehow having blonde hair, who had the custom of long hair, which that Jews didn't do that. And that somehow he is this white dude with, blonde hair and blue eyes. And he hung out with the Beach Boys. I mean, this is where we're at. I am convinced that there is an intelligence that's influencing decisions by world leaders. I think the cat in the White House, I don't think he's by himself. And we're going to continue on this. I'll be continuing on this tomorrow. So, and this is a big deal. And Colleen, as you were rightly observing, this is a twisted, because now these back in the day, these were very powerful. These were gods, demigods. They were the ones who made the economy prosperous, and they're the ones who crashed the economy. They make money no matter what, and it's all about money. I mean, there is this force with money. And I swear we can get the science and we could actually measure it. But yeah, in their day, and I think these people were smart enough to look down the road much further. He goes on to say, and each page is another one. So tomorrow, make sure to tune in because we're going to continue. So the world governments are against peace. Isn't it odd that we saw two men, leaders? I think that they're being influenced by spiritual entities. Vladimir is their first name, One's Zelensky and one is Putin. And they have within their power to find peace. Could end it literally today. Not happening. And all attempts at finding and injecting rational thought of peace has been rejected. And now it's war. Step back, folks. I mean, we look at this, this is crazy. But the world leaders must, they must worship, they must obey this non-human intelligence. It will kill them if it doesn't. And they know that. That's how powerful it is. And then you got the other minion humans that are falling right in line. And in the meantime, we're talking potential losses of human life from Europe, from other regions of the world. Nearly 1 million souls sacrificed. And someone's going to be there to collect all that energy. And if it goes really bad, all bets are off the table. Again, why would humans, rationally, intelligent, make such bad decisions? Look at the United States government. We're now finding out that our government, hello, Americans, we have now found out that probably for the last 100 years has been run by crooks, thieves. Yeah, where the whole system is designed on corruption. Is that a human intelligence or is that of intelligence of a different origin? I see my time is gone. Rats. I have more to do. Um, so, what do I see? Hello, Jenny. Uh, just reading some of the comments. The great world of chaos and confusion. Lost in space it is. Jenny, how are you doing, sweetie? How you feeling? Good, I guess. Uh, Mac Lane says black goo. Yeah. Mary wins. Much love to you, darling. Love wins. One. I like that. Um, Grace says planned intelligence. Yeah. Robert Scott, I agree. We are some of the few that look beyond the cover story. Yeah, Jayla, is that right? Is it Jolly? Is that right? How are you? I hope I said that correctly. If I hadn't, you have to forgive me, Gotta love me. Hello, Nina. How are you? Good to see you, dear. Troy, what's up? Casper, Blackbird, this stream really opens the I guess you could say we let the white bird out, right? The song by Beautiful Day. White bird in a golden cage on a winter's. Anyway. So, anyway. Rick, thank you, brother. Good to see you as well. Deborah. Uh, and welcome. Yes, Casper, I hadn't seen you before, so welcome. It's messed up. It really is. And I'm probably going to go over, look at like when we're talking about this, I mean, each and every one of our lives in some way is we have a direct experience with one of the things I brought up. Now, I used to be a member of a very influential group. I'll put it that way. I don't talk about it because, well, there's just some things you don't talk about. But my experience with Lynn and I, when we would go and we would meet 3 times a year. We always met at the Ritz-Carlton. And, and we were part of the inner circle. You had the outer group, but then you had this inner group. And in that inner group, it cost a lot of do-re-mi. I mean, trust me. But you had direct access to that power. And then that power could come in the form of a governor, a lieutenant governor, a senator, a House majority leader, state Supreme Court judges. I mean, yeah. And it was so interesting having that experience because I'd already started my reawakening. And by the time that I was at this particular point, um, that inner voice was talking and saying, observe this, watch this. And my point is, when I talk about subjects like this, I for one know that this is a real tangible entity. It's aware. And it's the strangest thing. It doesn't seem to play favorites. And there really is no rhyme or reason why you see certain lieutenants that come in and they also go away sometimes just as quickly. But for myself, I can I can connect the dots and see what that individual brought. And then after that, there was a change of direction. It was very strange. And so again, there is this tangible thing. I mean, when I think about Trump and that Paula White is his spiritual advisor, yeah, again, I'm trying to figure out which fucking God is being represented here. Just with all due respect, that's all I got to say. Yeah, Gilbert, I'm thinking about doing the show tomorrow. I mean, I think it's just going to be raining, so why not? I love this topic. We got more to talk on it. But anyway, yeah, it's it's very strange, and it's not for the masses. I mean, we're just this little enclave here on YouTube, a small little channel, and I like it that way, uh, because there's just some of this stuff. Some people are going to hear it and go, that y'all are just bat crap crazy. Well, I've been called worse. So, Bonnie, what do you say? It's a really good book. He talks about like when you, now I'll have to go back and look in the chat room and see what that's about. All right, everybody, have yourself a great Thursday, and we'll see each other tomorrow. It's love your comments. Thank you. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for recommending. Hey, I just thank you for you. Yeah. Um, so that says, we are the free thinkers. We are the free thinkers. That's what we do here. We question everything. That's someone write me that and literally said, it says, your channel is just, you just question everything. I know. It's fun. And so often you find out that what you thought you didn't know. And then what you didn't know, now you begin to apply it to what you now know. What do you know? All right. Big love is what Mary Wynn said to everybody. I'm right there with you, dear. Um, thank you. Thank you. Is that O1? That's all I can see. All right, folks. Have yourselves a fantastic day. We'll pick up here on Friday. Wow, we made that rhyme just on time. Yes. All right. So I'll do the stop talking and let the 30-second thing go because what I found out that's happening, it may be delayed there, but when I cut it off here, it cuts off the delay there. That's really time travel. All right, much love. Somewhere in Texas. How are you? Good to see you. Love Texas, as they say. You may be able to move out of Texas, but Texas never moves out of you. That's a fact. So, all right, everybody. Much love, Lauren. All right. El Gapo, good to see you as well. Mr. GT, welcome. It's been a while. Any ideas on how to best escape reincarnation? Got a few thoughts on that. We've been talking about that here. But anyway, Much love, Jenny. Let me know when we'll get together on bringing doing an after show with you. You know what I'm saying. All right, everybody. Bye.